Hi, I'm Libby. I'm a senior SEO consultant here at Fountain Partnership. We're a digital marketing agency, and I do all things SEO. So I'm just really a geek, if I'm honest. That's me.
Hi, so I'm Sarah Farrell. So I work for NielsenIQ Brandbank, and I'm their marketing lead generation specialist. So I work in the sales enablement and business development team. And I just want to talk to you today about product discoverability and transparency, and how important it is to the shoppers of today. So we work with all the top tier retailers globally at NielsenIQ Brandbank, all top tier brands and retailers. And we know from working so long with these people, and we know from the research that we do at NielsenIQ what the shoppers' needs are, and that they're changing fast, and they're trying to adapt to post-pandemic world, and concerns about the cost of living crisis, inflation, geopolitics, the environment. These are all things that are driving shoppers' buying decisions today. They want to shop for products based on their personalised needs and lifestyle choices, with mental health, wellness, sustainability and managing a newly constrained budget now top of their agenda. They want to take charge of their lives, especially their health, as they adapt to life after the pandemic. They want to be shown product choices which fit to their preferred eating and health choices, and to navigate away from foods which would trigger intolerances or allergies. There's a huge opportunity out there for to deliver a shopper experience for brands and retailers, to be able to deliver a shopper experience which is optimized for product discovery. They need to be fully aware, brands and retailers should be fully aware of what their customers care about, what they understand, and the importance of surfacing all product attributes and product transparency initiatives. 68% of shoppers are now looking at product information before they decide to purchase. So if brands and retailers aren't using interactive and diverse product content and simple SEO techniques that make it easy to identify specific product attributes in searches, they're going to lose out directly on the competitors that do. The opportunity here is very significant, given that 95% of consumer packaged goods that qualify for the most frequently searched product attributes don't appear in search results. Customers need to be able to search and easily find the answers that they need via the businesses that provide those answers. SEO savvy brands can fully optimize their products to avoid dissatisfied, disengaged shoppers and missed revenue. Get your SEO right and make the right product discoverable at the right time, and you can drive brand loyalty and massively increase repeat purchase. So at NielsenIQ Brandbank, we really know how important this is. We've been working with our brands and retailers for nearly 25 years. And with the research that we've done, as I said before, at NielsenIQ, we know how important this is, and we're ahead of the game in the importance of discoverability. We capture as standard up to 300 attributes for every product we produce for our customers, which is important not just for shoppers, but also especially to our syndication customers who license our content globally. We also have created a unique solution which we launched this year, which performs content health checks on any existing brand or retailer's product data. And this identifies key attributes that are missing from a product so that they can be surfaced to increase discoverability and increase SEO and sales. It's really, really important. Discoverability is really important when thinking about your product description pages, and the amount of content, the amount of interactive content and diverse content you have on your product description pages, which will drive SEO and discoverability massively. So once a customer's found you successfully in a search, your product pages really need to start working for you. They're the moment of truth, essentially, for your business, and it's up to the brand or retailer to create a user experience that gives the visitor everything they need to convert and become a customer. A whopping 90% of customers will land directly on your product page and not the home page. So it's incredibly important to make sure you're providing the customer with all rich content that's diverse and interactive, and includes things like images, video, feature sets, product tours, and inclusive product description, which contains all available information and all the attributes that are available and related to a product, so that the customer doesn't need to go elsewhere to find the information they need to inform purchase.
That point, Sarah, I think really, really key. And I think a lot of people kind of gloss over that, in the sense that you're not always going to come to a homepage, are you? You're going to come directly to a product page. So it's so important when you have sort of your PDP that you include everything that you possibly can within it, whether that's, I know you guys have got sort of feature sets with Connect Plus, And so you can have videos, you can have imagery, you can have text. And it's just so good to be able to answer off any questions someone might have about a product, because that's basically what Google is, right? We call it a search engine, but it's actually an answers engine. So when you're typing something in, you want an answer straight away. And that's what you want to get from your PDPs.
Exactly, and also it drives customer loyalty. It gives, it via positive user behaviour as well. If shoppers are able to fully engage with a product description page, brand story that they've been given, and all the information they need, we know they're 58% more likely to shop again with you in the future. And also it's really important because our research showing us that by 2040, 89% of people will be using mobile devices to shop. And as we know, they're not very large screens, so enriched content makes it much easier to consume an abundance of information via smaller interface devices. If you're using images and videos, for instance, to illustrate things, and especially with Connect Plus, you're able to surface sales and marketing information, sustainability, transparency information, which is crucial to customers, as we know. That can all be showcased in the templates and in the various different blocks, and you can move them around. So people will see that information. You can highlight, for instance, 98% recyclable or whatever it might be, and they're not having to scroll through like tiny little bits of text to try and find that information.
I think that's another important point that you kind of made about sustainability and the things people care about, and understanding your brand and making sure that that's reflected within your PDP, making sure that you've kind of got that brand voice there, as well as offering everybody the information that they need. I know at Brandbank you work with some kind of beauty companies and things like that, and it's really important if you're kind of selling sort of mascara or something like that. It would be really good to have a video about how to use it, particularly around makeup. I'm personally rubbish at putting makeup on my face, so it would be nice for me to have kind of a tutorial. And so thinking about that kind of content that can enrich the product, I think is super, super important. And stuff like sustainability, everyone cares about it, as we should. Company Fountain are very much people that care about sustainability. And so it's really important to someone like me to be able to see the products that I'm buying are actually good to the planet and things like that.
And also high value products as well. It's kind of like if you're buying, given that like not 89% of people will be using mobile devices, we're not far off that now. If they're looking at something, like one of the LED face masks, or a Hoover, or an electric beauty product, whatever it is, and it's going to cost them in excess of £300, then they are, that they need to know as much information as they possibly can. And if you can showcase that with videos and product tours, so the Connect Plus platform that we've created, it allows you to have product tours as well. So it literally takes you point by point through whatever product it is, and gives you all of the information that you need. We've got, you can use videos, like we've got the Gillette videos online as well, supporting content, really engaging, interactive, supporting content. And people respond and engage much more with visual content rather than written content. I mean, that's been a statistic that's been around since forever.
Absolutely. Like the millennial audience is very much they need to see what they can get, particularly if it's something that you have to buy online and you can't physically hold. You've kind of got to tell that story online.
It's so important. It drives conversion, and also like reduces returns as well, because if somebody's had the experience where they can almost touch and feel it as if they would if they were in store, then they're less likely to return something. All too often the product description pages that you see on a lot of websites, a lot of retailers, brands and retailers, concentrate on the home pages and the landing pages, but they forget the product description pages. And that is literally where somebody makes that decision, that they'll make the decision to purchase or not. Or if it doesn't contain the information that they need, they're going to go to another website and find that information and just buy it from them. We've seen it happen time and time again. So those people who are thinking to themselves, oh, that's just a nice to have, I don't really need that, or I need to know whether it's going to whether it's really going to, what's the return on investment. We're already seeing it. But I think apart from that, it's just really important that it's about moving with the times, and it's about listening to your customer and not just thinking about what potentially might benefit you as a retailer in terms of finance and revenue, etc., but forward thinking and planning for your for your customer and including them, you know, being inclusive with everything that they might need to know.
Definitely. I think it's also important to just be aware of the balance. So the balance of what you're going to put on your product display page. It's great that you guys offer all of these different kind of modules, really, aren't they? So it's like feature set and the 360 view and things like that you offer. I think it's brilliant that you have that, but it's very good to think about the balance of how much of it you need. So it's really that understanding of your audience to know, do they need those?
And some of our brands, some of our retailers, they'll use, you know, because if you wanted to buy into it 100%, you can have videos, you can have sliding GIFs, you know, or basically any kind of static or moving media content can be dropped in there, and it's a really simple process to be able to do that. But you can have, you know, you could have maybe just a couple of tiles and a video slide, or, you know, you can have any amount, you know, you can have all of it or as little of it as you need to be able to support your product. But we know from experience that, you know, it's had great interaction. I know Asda have been using it really successfully, and, you know, we've signed up a lot of retailers, a lot of brands already, and, you know, they're all seeing the benefits of it. And it's not necessarily for all brands, you know, but it might be that, you know, you might have it for a particular category that needs it, you know, but you don't have it for every single product that you have on your website. But certainly I think it's worth people reviewing what they've got on their website and where enhanced content could definitely benefit. But apart from anything else, the amount of written content and the amount of visual content that you have is going to rank you much higher in SEO, and you're the expert on that. You can expand on that. But I know that visuals and images immediately rank you higher. So I guess you can probably explain a little bit more about why that's so important.
Yeah, sure. So I think it kind of comes back to this idea of getting the right balance around your product. So it's an annoying answer from an SEO's perspective, because it's always going to be, it depends on said product or whatever you're trying to sell. But of course, it is really important. It's important for internal algorithms, and in the case of someone like Asda, being able to use your keywords and the things that people write around those keywords. So when they're typing for your product, they'll find yours rather than your competitor's product. But it's also about all of the things we've spoken about so far. So making sure that that person is getting the answer to their query. It's the answer behind the search intent of the keyword. So having a video tutorial of a makeup product's really good. It doesn't have to always be written. There are things that you can do from an SEO perspective to make sure that what you've got on that page is optimized. So thinking about things like image optimization. And I suppose at this point it gets a little bit technical, so people switch off, but please don't switch off. But there are things you can do in the background. So writing alt text. So if the image doesn't show, basically it will put a line of what that image was. So it's actually for people that can't see, or people that haven't got it loaded because their Wi-Fi is rubbish at home or whatever it happens to be, but you can still see what that image is. So thinking about these types of things, making sure that your images aren't too big, making sure that your video files aren't massive. But that's the good thing about Brandbank. I know you guys sort that your end.
We manage that. You
don't need to worry about that too much. But it's just about giving a user a really good experience when they're shopping. And I actually have noticed that on Asda. I know you guys are working with a few people on Asda, and you can just see that. I think it's really nice to see it. And also, one thing I have noticed is like sort of seasonal campaigns you can easily do on PDP. So Coca-Cola do really cool stuff on their PDP when it comes to Christmas, of course, because they are the people that tell us Christmas has arrived.
And product launches as well. It's really important for that, you know, sales, seasonal sales, you know, reductions, things like that. You can that we've got, so you can drag and drop and move the slides wherever you want. So, you know, you could have a video at the top and then bring it back down again and put something else, you know, another bit of marketing information there. But definitely, and I know it's been very successful, you know, case studies have shown it's been very successful with seasonal promotions, especially like you mentioned, you know, things like the, you know, the World Cup that we've just had. I mean, those things happen, you know, organically all the way through the year anyway. You've got Easter, Halloween, all of those sorts of things. So it's really important. Or if you just want to, you know, if you've got a new launch, you like a new addition to, or a new color, or a new flavor, or what new recipe, you know, like, you know, for instance, the cost of living crisis, etc. People are wanting to be able to, feed the same mouths for less money. So you can put recipes on there, you can highlight your value brands, all of that kind of stuff. It's really important. It's, and this is how brands and retailers should be operating. This is how, as a consumer, I know I'm one of those people. I will engage and I will commit and be loyal to retailers and brands who provide that information, because it shows that you care and that you are interested and care about somebody's needs, wants and needs. And today's shopper is a very different shopper from even just 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think you've made a really good point there, because it's just a lot of the time I feel like things like SEO is overcomplicated, in the sense that we all use Google, right? We all shop. And so you've got to think about the way that you shop and the way that you have a positive experience online. And so that's why having these enriched PDPs are so good, because it's getting the intent that you want, so then you don't hop off to a competitor. So as an example, I stopped using Boots for a while because it took way too long to load, and then I went over to Superdrug instead, and that was just me being pretty fickle as a consumer. It took more than 3 seconds to load the page, and so I was off, and then I started shopping at Superdrug instead, until I remembered that Boots have a pretty good loyalty card, so then I came back again. Things like that.
But you may not have come back, and this is happening all the time. We know this is happening all the time. People are losing customers because they've decided it's not really that important, or these sorts of things are nice to have. And it really is important, because, who are paying attention to this, the retailers and brands who are paying attention to this are seeing the benefits of it. And it's the world isn't all about sales at the moment. It shouldn't be. I think we know there's a mental shift, I think, and there should be, and it's the right thing to do. And this is all kind of part and parcel that sits under the umbrella of that, where we should be very inclusive and paying attention to our customers, because you want their loyalty. And in hard times, in a recession and everything else, you want to retain your customers, and you want to encourage brand loyalty. Definitely, that's what's going to help see people through the hard times.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head, really, because we've had such a weird kind of 3 or so years where, particularly in the SEO world, you've kind of had COVID. And so the people that were ecom online, absolutely smashing it pretty much, because the demand was there, because people still had money at that point, right? Most people still had money during COVID, because we were all, most of us were just sat in our houses online shopping. Personally, I was shopping for alcohol online. But then we kind of went through COVID, and we had this weird stage of people buying online. And now we've got to a cost of living crisis. And it's those brands that understood at that point being online and being true to yourself as a brand, and really projecting yourself in a way that's kind of positive, and building that kind of relationship with your consumers. These are the people that are winning now when it comes to the cost of living crisis, when people are really feeling the pinch, and we are seeing sales dropping and things like that. It's those loyal brands to the customers that they kind of had before that are going to win throughout all of this. So
and there's also, as a result of the pandemic and people ordering, the likes of Deliveroo, Noom, all of whom we work with, the quick commerce companies, a lot of these people are people that we work with our content licensing, syndication. They use our content for that. But even, I'm referencing them because again, it's even more important to get your product description right, because people are shopping, not just, doing their big shop on a retail, on their website, but they're doing lots of kind of top-up shops and things like that as well. So that's a huge, that's seen huge growth as a sector at the moment. So there's all of these kind of little branches of, commerce that have sort of been driven from the pandemic and are continuing to thrive. So, and they all, they all involve what we're talking about, having, allowing customers to have as much information as possible. They're shopping remotely more and more now, much more than they ever did before.
I wonder if there's kind of been a shift as well that started during COVID around, obviously, people do their big shops online, and they have their brands that they always stick to, whether it's, Tesco or Asda or whoever. But then obviously the cost of living crisis comes in, and then you are going to be thinking about, how much things cost in my big shop, and who can I realistically shop from now. And I guess, the PDPs on Asda have got to be top notch for you to be able to retain that person to do their big shop there.
Exactly. And we also, with our content licensing, we work with an awful lot of price comparison sites as well. So it's even more important to get things right, and also to, there's a lot more competition out there. So I think retailers sometimes are under the impression that it's only if somebody happens to find a product on a competitor's website, but people are looking at comparison websites so much more. That there's a massive rise in the price comparison websites that there used to be, because people are obviously shopping smarter and they're needing to save their pennies. So all of this stuff, all kind of feeds into what we're talking about, and also making it crucial that you surface all of your attributes. You do the content health on your data. Make sure a lot of people don't even know what brands and retailers don't even know what attributes they should be surfacing. So our content health solution is perfect for that, because it's like a script, and it just runs and it just pulls out what you should be surfacing. What the maximum amount of attributes you could surface for any given product. And we've seen increased sales, and we've seen increased SEO off the back of that as well, obviously. So so another thing as well, which sits under the heading of all of this, is product transparency, and we've sort of touched on it briefly, but it really is no longer an option for brands and retailers. It's a necessity. It's just so much more important than it ever was in today's e-commerce and today's shoppers. So we're disclosing detailed information about products, including what they contain, how they were produced, where they come from. It all helps to build a stronger, trustworthy relationship with new and existing customers, and helps also for brands and retailers to understand which social environmental values are really important to shoppers. And that goes back to what I was saying before about, we need to be more inclusive. We need to be listening to what shoppers needs. They also need to know, consumers need to know much more about sustainability credentials of products. We know that they're buying, they buy with growing concerns about food safety, carbon footprint, ethical sourcing, and other environmental impacts. So it's imperative that brands and retailers surface this information and inform the shopper to meet their needs and drive discoverability and conversion. And we know also that 75% of shoppers will switch to a brand that provides much more product information than just what's just found on the label. This can also have an enormous impact in shifting sentiment and generating customer trust and loyalty to a brand or retailer, which is, as I said before, incredibly important. Customer retention is huge now more than ever.
Yeah, now more than ever, I was going to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't know if all brands and retailers are as transparent as they should be, but they really need to be. And I think, that they need to understand what product transparency is. There are some retailers who are leading the way on this, but it's not something we can ignore. The state of the world as it is right now, and people are conscious of where their products come from, how much, and also in terms of the cost of living, how much it's cost to bring something in versus perhaps buying locally, for instance. All of this stuff, the socio-economic, the way everybody thinks has completely changed, and brands and retailers are fools not to pay attention to it.
Definitely. It's definitely got a much more challenging world.
It has.
But it aligns really with everything that we sort of shout about from an SEO perspective, in terms of, we always talk about something called EAT. So it's like expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. It's all the three things that kind of go into everything that we've spoken about today in terms of brands, telling the person exactly what's going to be in a product. We need to know all of those things as a consumer, because you've got to build this loyalty base, because that person is super, super stretched. Their purse strings are super stretched, and they've got to still believe in you and buy from you. And why should they?
And it's something as simple as, going online and being able to click for all the things that you can shop if you're a celiac, or if you've got nut allergies, things like that. I mean, it's crazy that can't happen. And if you've got the right, if you're surfacing the right attributes and that's pulled in SEO, then people will find that information even without you sort of, there being a filter on your website. Although that's something that I think definitely where it's going. If you know what I mean. But people are a lot more health conscious as well since the pandemic. People getting out, going for walks. They're a lot more concerned about mental health. Quite rightly, so people are looking after their bodies. We know this from the research that we've done at NielsenIQ. They're looking after their bodies, their minds, and what goes into them as well. So that all directly affects how they shop and what they're shopping for. So interesting times.
Interesting times indeed.